Howdy, howdy, y'all. How's everyone doing? Hope you're having an alright week so far. Yumi, Menace, Chad, good to see y'all. I've been looking forward to doing this case. Lucky Chad. How you doing? That time on yours, right? Eat chili eggs for breakfast. That sounds so good. I just had get right, so which is most fried chicken here is basically get right. Yeah, chili and eggs for breakfast is fantastic. The game music louder than my voice? Okay. We can fix that real quick. How's that? Is that a little better balance now? Because I'm in my new studio, I need to... my mic's in a different position, so... Is it a little better like this? That's a bit better, yeah. Better? Alright. If it needs to go down a little more, I can, but if that's good, then we'll go like this. Yeah, this is my first time playing the game since I moved into this studio, so... Alright. Kay Faraday, the young lady who calls herself the second Yatagarasu. The piece of cloth that she conjured up has taken me back to many years ago. "7 years ago. Yeah, that's right. I did it. I killed the guy. Howdy, crazy. How you doing? But it was the great thief Yatagarasu that told me to do it. I asked the defendant, just what exactly are you trying to say? Don't you get it? I know the true identity of the Yatagarasu. The Yatagarasu is the man standing over there at the prosecutor's bench! Are you saying that I'm the Yatagarasu? Don't you dare deny it! You told me to kill him when you snuck into the embassy! Oh, hi, Pop Filter. Mr. Rell, I think we've heard just about enough out of you. Your Honor, please listen to me. I'm telling the truth. You gotta believe me. In accordance with the defendant's accusation, a new prosecutor shall be called to replace Mr. Faraday. This court will be in recess until the new prosecutor is ready. Look at that suit on Edgy, though. it's almost time for me to enter the courtroom. And so it is that my first assignment as a prosecutor will be as a replacement for a prosecutor who has been accused by the defendant. Edgeworth. Sir? Have you read over all of the documents regarding this trial? Yes, sir. I've memorized everything there is to know. Very good. The paperwork for the prosecutor substitution is just about complete. Edgeworth, always bear in mind that as your mentor, I, Manfred von Karma, will accept nothing short of perfection. I understand, sir. To have the chance to stand in court at such an early stage in my career, I am honored and proud. As I have watched over your studies, I am giving you this very rare chance. Prove yourself. Crush the defendant's pathetic lies into oblivion. Yes, sir. That such a legendary prosecutor will be watching and judging my performance. I have to be perfect in every way. Ye old Manfred von Karma. I've never heard of water that tastes that good. Maybe I'll give him a minute. Does he plan on gulping an entire reservoir dry? I had to show that guy. Today's trial should have ended in just 1 minute. Because the defendant was picked up by the security camera, correct? Exactly. The killer had the gall to say that he only killed because he was instructed to do so. Even more outrageous is his claim that the case prosecutor, Bern Faraday, gave the order. Ha! Faraday's such a fool. He's been cornered by his very own prey. Sir, are you an acquaintance of Mr. Bern Faraday? He is a pathetic man who speaks nothing but nonsense. Nonsense? He once tried to explain to me a way of punishing those who cannot be brought to court. Those who cannot be brought to court? That is nonsense, for no man is above the law. Well, there are always a few exceptions. However, there is no reason to even deal with such individuals. A prosecutor is a guardian of the court, one with no obligation to outside matters. Thus, there is no reason to deal with such individuals, I see. Edgeworth. Disgracing yourself as Faraday has will not be forgiven. Have no fear. I will not let you down, sir. In place of the accused prosecutor Bern Faraday, I'll prove the defendant's guilt. Very good. I've secured an hour of recess for you to prepare to do just that. Show them all the power of Von Karma. So, have you achieved a firm understanding of the case? Yes, sir. I have memorized everything that is written in the case files. Well then, explain the case to me. I want to see if you really know what you're talking about. Understood. A murder was committed on September 8th in front of the Kodofian embassy. Heard that Manfred has a fondness for tasers, he sure does. The victim, Mr. Dyed Man, was a staff member at the embassy. We're just gonna let this NPC's name sit. That's just That's fucking crazy that they named him that. Oh, they really named him Died Man. Ooh, buddy. The defendant in this case, Mr. Mackerel, was held for questioning the night of the incident as he was deemed suspicious. He was quickly placed under arrest for possession of the murder weapon, a gun. Furthermore, at the time of the murder, the great thief Yatagarasu had successfully infiltrated the Kodopian embassy as well. At first, Rel claimed that he himself was the Yatagarasu, but that he did not kill Died Man. I wonder what he expected to gain from such a desperate lie. It's possible that he wants to go down while in the spotlight if he is found guilty. There truly is no limit to people's inanity. But I digress. Continue, Edgeworth. Yes, sir. During the trial, the prosecution presented the security footage that captured the murder. The footage clearly showed Mr. Rel as the murderer. The act of Mr. Rel firing the gun could be clearly seen from the visitors' gallery. Upon seeing that, the defendant retracted his statement and admitted to the murder. I did it because I was told to. By the real Yatagarasu, Byrne Faraday. That sounds about right. However, you've forgotten one thing. While this may appear to simply be the murder of a Kodopian embassy staff member, people are actually referring to it as the second KG-8 incident. The second KG-8 incident? I'm very sorry, sir. I fear I failed to study hard enough. Well, even among the police, it's information that only a select few are privy to. Could you please enlighten me, sir? In order for me to tell you that, you must first learn about the original case. Take a look at these documents. This is a 3-year-old newspaper. You have heard of the Amano Group scandal before, correct? Yes, I have. The secretary of Ernest Amano, the Amano Group's director, was arrested under suspicion of smuggling. Correct. Look at these dogs! Look at this grass! CCU was an employee of the Amano Group, and the sole witness to the smuggling operation. It was she who brought the crime to light. However, Miss Yu was silenced before she could testify in court. Wasn't a Kodopian embassy staff member arrested for the murder? Yes, a Kodopian by the name of Manny Cochin was the suspect. However, due to lack of evidence, the case went unresolved. Lack of evidence? Ha! If only I was in charge of the case. I would have done everything in my power to prove his guilt. To make sure that all criminals are found guilty, my mentor really is dedicated. Howdy, Bat. And yeah, younger Edgeworth. This suit, though. Faraday was the prosecutor on the case then, and he was as pathetic as ever. Mr. Faraday was in charge of the KG-8 incident as well? That's right. And now, once again, the victim of the case you are currently assigned to was someone who is scheduled to testify against that smuggling organization. And just like last time, the victim was murdered right before he was to testify. You're catching on. The victim was murdered just before his day in court against the smuggling organization. Events are occurring almost exactly the same way as they did in the KG-8 incident. So that's why it's being called the second KG-8 incident. Yes. Yet, there is one difference between the two incidents. What would that be? The so-called noble thief that is sending everyone into an uproar. The great thief Yatagarasu. Yatagarasu? I better find out more. If it is true that the Yatagarasu showed up at the Kodopian embassy, what could he or she have been after? No doubt to steal any suspicious accounting records and release them publicly. Or, more likely, to steal secrets from the Kodopian embassy itself. Since the item that the Yatagarasu stole from there was sent to the police. What was it that the Yatagarasu sent to the police? I don't know the details. Anything related to the Yatagarasu is getting the top secret treatment. Still, I find it very ironic. By returning the stolen item to the police, it was proof positive that the Yatagarasu had infiltrated the embassy on the same day the staff member was killed. Criminals have a way of incriminating themselves, wouldn't you say? That would have to be the first time the Yatagarasu has left evidence behind, correct? Yes, indeed. If you wish to learn more about the Yatagarasu, then I suggest you ask Faraday. Mr. Faraday? He happens to be the prosecutor in charge of the Yatagarasu case as well. Is the prosecutor in charge of both the KG-8 incident and the Yatagarasu case? Mr. Faraday really has a lot on his plate.
What is it, little girl?
You're scary, mister.
Did you need something?
I want to trade these coins with you.
A fistful of dimes, quarters, and pennies. But it looks like you've exactly $1. Is this what you want?
Thanks, that's exactly what I needed.
Could that child be here to watch the trial?
How disrespectful for a child like that to be running around inside the courthouse! Does no one have respect for this country's judicial system anymore?
The paperwork for the prosecutor substitution is complete.
Why, you! Do you even know how much time there is left before the trial resumes?
I'm so sorry.
I can have you mopping up this courthouse instead of protecting it in an instant.
It's no bother, sir. Not being completely prepared could prove to be a perfect handicap for me.
A proud one you are. You had better collect the evidence from Faraday and prepare yourself. It's time for your debut, Edgeworth.
Adorable kid reminds you of someone. Oh. I wonder who that could be.
Just what is going on? Why isn't Faraday here yet? How is it possible that the defense is not prepared yet either?
Bailiff, where is Mr. Faraday? I'm not sure. I wasn't really paying attention. Like this trial theme, this is a nice song. You must be the one Mr. Von Karma recommended. A different angle of the judge!
I hear that this will be your first trial. I look forward to seeing how you perform.
Oh, by the way, was there someone celebrating a birthday during the recess? I could have sworn that I heard a popper going off. Come to think of it, the other day with my grandson. Sir, it looks like the trial is about to resume, however...
Yes, it will be all but impossible to prove the witness a liar without the evidence from Faraday. What is that blasted buffoon up to?
It's an emergency, sirs!
Silence! There shall be no yelling in this sacred hall of law!
As you yell.
Bailiff, remove that man from this courtroom at once!
Please, wait! You have to listen to me! There's an emergency! Defendant lobby number 2! Mr. Faraday and the defendant! The two of them! They're both dead, Your Honor!
What? What?
Beige coat Gumshoe. I love the beige coat on Gumshoe. It's great.
Stay back.
No one's allowed on the crime scene. Period. Just who does this oddball think he is? This is becoming quite the hot spot. Isn't she Mr. Rell's defense attorney? Hey, you! No running in the hallway, pal! And who are you to tell me what to do? I'll never find out what's going on like this. It's time for some civil discourse. This guy? Yeah, love this guy. Time for one of my favorite characters. Excuse me, but who are you? Detective Tyrell Bad. Homicide. Tyrell Bad and his Pokemon Puzzle League ass theme. I dare you, I defy you to say this doesn't sound like a song from Pokemon Puzzle League. Detective Bad. I was informed of the situation and came as quickly as possible. So how did you arrive and inspect the body before me? Faraday requested for me to testify in the trial. Plain and simple. Mr. Faraday requested that you be here. Why was I not informed that you were going to testify in court? Homicides aren't my only gig. The Yatagarasu case is also one of my assignments. So you were called upon to comment on the Yatagarasu's characteristics in order to assess if Mr. Faraday really was the Yatagarasu or not? Well. Looks like you just might have a brain after all in that head of yours, son. Son? I'm not your son, Pops. Yeah, crazy. I just said that less than a minute ago. Detective Bad and his Puzzle League ass theme. I've already contacted HQ about the situation. I've got nothing to say to you, kid. I'm Mr. Faraday's substitute in today's trial. Therefore, I insist you update me on the situation. I can't back down here. I have a right to know. Do I need to teach you a thing or two about how to talk to adults, kid? Is he threatening me? Is he going for his gun? It's just a mirror! How dare he trick me like that? Need to find a way to mod Detective Bad and his theme into Puzzle League. It sounds so much like a Puzzle League track. It's great. It's also just a fantastic theme. Faraday was stabbed to death with some kind of blade, and he had a gun in his hand. The other man, Mr. Macrell, was shot and killed. He was found holding a bloody knife in his hand. Was there anyone else who went into defendant lobby number 2? Yeah, that big lug over there. His name's Gumshoe. He was in charge of guarding the place. He's claiming that no one else entered the room. If that's the case, then they must have killed each other, correct? Maybe. Such impudence! This guy is really testing my patience. Love Detective Bad. Dude's great. Holy mackerel, yep. Look, he killed a dude called Dyed Man. We're not over these names, alright? This is standard Ace Attorney. He died, man. Do you have a minute? You know, I'm not really into talking to people I don't know. Especially at a time like this. I apologize for not introducing myself before bothering you. My name is Miles Edgeworth. I was to take Mr. Faraday's place in court. Edgeworth, huh? Never heard of you. So Faraday's substitute is a newbie, huh? I'll have you know, madam, that I studied under Manfred von Karma. Do not take me for some naive novice. Do not take me for some naive novice. So you're a student of Von Karma! I should've... Those clothes are a dead giveaway! Stop right there! These are the garments of one who gallantly presents the facts! Thanks for the great laugh, but try not to make me laugh so much, okay? I wasn't trying to do anything of the sort! Just kidding, I was just goofing around. By the way, you know whom I am? My name is Callisto Yu. And if you're telling the truth, then we were about to go head-to-head in court. But of course, I've heard much about you, Miss Yu. But of course, I have heard much about you. You're a regular Shakespeare. Did I say something funny? Callisto Yu is having a giggle. As she does. I'd like you to update me on the situation. I don't really know anything. Why don't you try talking to those detectives over there? If that's the case, then why are you here? funny.
It's just that the way you speak is so tactless. The person I was going against in court until only a little while ago was just murdered. It's not like I could go back to the courtroom pretending as though nothing happened.
That's a good point. I apologize for asking such an insensitive question.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
If only food at court was this cheap. Credit card accepted. Many of them seem sort of troublesome and suspicious. Objection, I suppose. I will admit that one time I had jury duty at around here, and when I went that day, I was there until about 2 in the afternoon. They pulled a bunch of us out to select a jury, and I was gonna be on it, I think, but then they reached a deal, so I got to go home around like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, I guess. And I did get lunch while I was there, and the sub sandwiches that they had at an establishment in the courthouse was not too expensive, actually, so. But this is not usual. And you are... Oh, me? Hey, pal. It's common courtesy to tell someone your name first before asking theirs. Point taken. My name is Miles Edgeworth. I'm a district prosecutor. A prosecutor? I've never seen a prosecutor as young as you, pal. I've told you my name. Now, would you mind telling me yours? Detective Dick Gumshoe. And just recently, I achieved my dream of becoming a detective. More than a dream, it's what I was born to do. Wait, maybe I should check and make sure I'm not really in some crazy dream first. This detective is entirely too excited to be at a murder scene. So, Detective Gumshoe, would you mind telling me what you know about the incident? You know I don't have to tell you anything, right? I know that. But it would behoove you to fill me in on what you know. Wow, you're a proud one for such a youngster, aren't you? Well, anyway, Detective Bad is the one in charge. So you're just gonna have to ask him for all the details, okay? As for me, I was guarding the door to defend in lobby number 2. So you were on guard detail. Did you notice anything strange while you were on duty? Well, I freaked out when I heard a gunshot, and then I kind of froze. You're a detective, and a measly gunshot scared you that much? Then again, I can hardly claim to not know what it's like to hear one at close range. Then Detective Bad came running to the scene. We went into lobby number 2 together, and both men were lying there dead. Is that everything? Yeah, that's it. I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle. Interesting. Other than the gunshot, he didn't hear a single sound of commotion. Monsieur! There's someone here who wishes to see you. Who is it? A Kodopian embassy staff member by the name of Manny Cochin. What? What's going on? Detective Bad and Miss Yu's moods just changed all of a sudden. Wait a second. Wasn't Manny Cochin? I'll be right there. It's nice to see you again, Miss Yu. Why are you here? I have no desire to ever see you again. Now. Actually, would you mind stepping outside for a brief chat? Fine, let's go.
Bad.
Von Karma. It's been a long time.
I knew you would show up. You usually do when the Yanagarasu is involved, and I see this case as no exception.
Do you know Detective Bad, sir?
Yes, he's like an old bloodhound that never leaves the scene of a crime. If only he would get a promotion and move on.
It's the crime scene where a detective is most useful and effective.
It's not like I don't know that. Moving on though, Bad. The man that I just passed by. Was he not the suspect from the KG8 incident?
So I was right.
Just what is that man doing wandering around here? That Faraday. I can't believe he let such an easy catch get away. Imbecile! I would have proved his guilt in 3 minutes.
Von Karma, I think you've said enough for now. It's in poor taste to speak like that about the departed.
Very well. Back on topic. I'm placing Edgeworth in charge of the investigation.
Objection!
Oh, it sure has been a long time. We'll hear about that in investigations too. Also, who is this sassy lost child? Franziska's like 12 here or something. At least she looks like 12. Franziska, what are you doing here?
I'm here for summer vacation, what else?
Franziska von Karma. So she's here on vacation from Germany. She's the daughter of Manfred von Karma and a student of his, who's also junior to me.
You're the one who's junior to me, and don't you forget it!
You're not conveniently avoiding the bar examination, are you?
Ha! If you were able to pass, then I'll have absolutely no trouble at all. I'll never allow myself to lose to you, never!
Why does she always have to be this competitive?
Anyway, Papa...
What's this elementary school lad doing here? Lass! Francie's so sassy she can read your monologue explanations. Also, Chad, because you typed it like that, I heard Moko-chan.
What's this elementary school lass doing here? What? Huh? Papa, are you really assigning Miles Edgeworth to cover the case?
Yes, I am. Why do you ask?
Well, you know, I'm close to becoming a prosecutor myself. And I'm 100% confident I can do a better job than him.
That's just like Franziska. She has no problem bad-mouthing someone right in front of them.
Bad.
Yeah.
These two will be conducting the investigation.
What? You want me to let both of these kids loose on the crime scene?
This is a perfect opportunity for them to work on their prosecutorial skills.
A crime scene is not a place for children to be messing around in.
I'm the one with the authority over this crime scene, Bad. And I will not tolerate complaining. Edward, Franziska, I leave this case to the two of you.
Understood, sir.
Yes, Papa.
I'll go take care of the paperwork now. Remember, I'll accept nothing but a perfect report from the both of you. Do not disappoint me.
Hold up, Von Karma. I still haven't agreed to this.
Miles Edgeworth.
It's been quite some time, Francisca.
This would be the perfect chance for us to see which of us is truly worthy of the Von Karma name.
Would it kill you to at least say hello?
And long time no see.
Very good.
Just because you became a prosecutor first doesn't mean you can act all proud.
She hasn't changed a bit.
Miles Edgeworth. As I was saying, we shall see which one of us is worthy of the Von Karma name.
For crying out loud, I've been reduced to a babysitter. Looks like Mr. Von Karma was successful in convincing the detective. That's just like him. He never fails. Now, I'd appreciate it if you could quickly run me through the facts, Detective Bad. You're better off checking things out on your own. Very well. Seems like getting help from Detective Bad will be a most arduous task. Is the only real explanation that they killed each other simultaneously?
More like forcing him, probably. Miles Edgeworth, you should listen to someone until they're finished talking.
What are you talking about?
I'll only say it one more time. This is a competition to see who is truly worthy of the Von Karma name.
A competition?
The person that figures out the truth first wins.
So the person who doesn't discover the truth is a dishonor to the name?
Exactly! I don't care that you became a prosecutor before me. I simply refuse to hear any more foolish things come from your foolishly foolish mouth.
Fine, whatever makes you happy.
Can I take that as you accepting my challenge?
Once again, whatever makes you happy.
Ha! Well then, let's begin the investigation, shall we? I'm going to find the perfect evidence and prettily present it like the professional I am.
Competing to discover the truth behind a crime. How delightfully childish. You kids over there, hold it!
Kid? Ha! Serves you right, Miles. He just called you a kid.
I said kids, kid.
How dare you call me a kid as well?
I'll do what I please, and I won't allow you to cause a ruckus on my crime scene. Hey, big guy. You're gonna watch over these two. Yes, sir, Detective Bad, sir. Now, what I say from now on, kids, okay?
You better not get in our way, Scruffy. You'll feel the bite of my whip if you do.
Then you, prosecutor boy! Let's get your investigation started already, alright? Great. Now even that detective is treating me like a child. My name is Miles Edgeworth. And if you were to call me prosecutor boy one more time, it will be my duty as a prosecutor to look into your monthly salary. What? And what would you do with my salary after you saw how much it was? That's up to you now, isn't it? He's so naive. Detective Bad, may I have a word with you? What is it? It appears that both a knife and a gun were used as murder weapons. Yeah, it does.
And that leads us to our first question of the investigation. Where did the men acquire the weapons? Edgeworth over here threatening Gumshoe's salary from day one. Yep, the first day they met.
The gun was inside of Faraday's bag. It was a piece of evidence that was presented in the trial earlier today. It was used to kill the KODOMOi embassy staff member. But I never heard anything about the knife. Mr. Rell was being held by the police. There's no way he could have brought it in. Which means it's possible that Faraday had the knife on him from the start as well.
Could it have been a piece of evidence that had yet to be presented? But then, why doesn't Detective Bad know about it? Wait, what if... It's possible that Mr. Faraday brought the knife in under the guise of prosecutorial evidence. He could have then brought it out and attacked Mr. Rell with it.
Maybe you get a brain in there after all, kid. Is he going to treat me like a child forever? It looks like Mr. Faraday attacked Mr. Rell first, who then counterattacked. And that's the only logical conclusion you can draw from a scene like this.
Not yet. I feel that it's much too early to be drawing conclusions already. I must first find conclusive evidence so as to protect the honor of the Von Karma name. The window is open and there's a fresh flowery scent in the air.
Ugh, the flowers in the garden down there are so gross and ghastly.
Do you think maybe you could try offering something useful for a change?
Well, at least there's no way someone escaped through this window, pal. They wouldn't wake up and smell the flowers after a fall from the 3rd floor.
Are you willfully ignoring the fact that there are also iron bars on the windows?
Yeah, I guess there's that too. Either way, no one could get through these windows, right?
They thought of everything when they were designing this courthouse. Very nice.
Whoa! What is it, Detective Gumshoe? My TV at home is so tiny compared to this one, pal.
Then perhaps you should purchase a more normal-sized television like this one.
Ooh, let me see here. Wow, this thing is huge. Ah! And way too noisy!
You're the noisy one, Scruffy!
Don't touch it, you'll get your fingerprints all over it. I didn't touch it. Preservation of the crime scene is the foundation of detective work.
The foundation, huh? Sounds like something the rookie here needs to shore up on. We need stronger TVs. This thing is huge, that's what she said! Ladies! Detective Bad, do you have any thoughts on the case?
Faraday and Rell. Looks like they killed each other to me. Although, there are a few things that just don't seem right.
And what would they be?
Why don't you try thinking on your own first before you bother me, boy? What? Now I've been downgraded to just boy? There's some stuff in the bag, pal.
Howdy. As you do. I suppose this was Mr. Faraday's bag. It's probably the trial evidence I was supposed to collect from him.
This is the evidence? I'd better not touch it, I'll leave prints on it.
Do you just not pay attention to anything you do? There are some plastic bags stacked up on the table. There's a tea set, too. But there doesn't seem to be any sign of a disturbance.
Yeah, the table's all neat and tidy. Maybe they were super quiet in their scuffle? After all, I didn't hear anything from out in the hallway, you know?
Maybe the plastic bags scattered on the floor are throwing us off? Why are there plastic bags scattered all around?
Those bags are for keeping evidence safe, pal.
I know that much, Detective. Normally, I'd be happy when someone compliments me, but when it's this guy... Anyway, could these plastic bags be evidence of a fight between the two men? Looks like this sofa's ready to be disposed of.
So soft, I could sleep for all 25 hours a day on this thing.
A fight breaks out and the tea set is undamaged. X. If only I could dispose of him. Some people are alive only because it would be illegal to shoot them. Gumshoe does his best. Looks like Mr. Faraday fell on top of Mr. Rell. At first glance, it seems like they must have killed each other. However...
Aha! What was that outburst for? My detective's instinct just hit me real hard. It was Mr. Rell that fell first, see? You don't need a detective's instinct for that, it's common sense.
But I suppose we won't know much more than that until after I examine the bodies.
Looks like Mr. Faraday died while holding the gun in his right hand.
So he shot Mr. Rell and then fell on top of him while still gripping onto the gun.
I guess that does seem kinda strange, huh?
It's not exactly rocket science. Even I know how to pull a trigger. Although I doubt I'll ever need to use one.
I hope I never have to fire a gun either, pal. It sure does look cool to hold a gun in your hands.
It appears the police's screening procedures need a thorough review. Mr. Faraday. How ironic it is for him to lose his life in a courthouse.
Yeah, why did it have to be like this? I don't know what to say. I can't believe this happened while I was on watch, pal.
Rather than beating yourself up, you should spend your time continuing the investigation. Didn't you become a detective in order to solve crimes? Yeah. Then get back to work. Find out the cause of his murder.
Right, I'm on it, pal.
First, he killed a Kodopian embassy staff member, then he was murdered himself.
This guy wasn't exactly an angel, you know.
Oh, what makes you say that?
Well, he's been hauled into the precinct several times for theft and assault, pal. So yeah, he's definitely the type to have committed a murder or two.
Well, he did admit to killing Mr. Dyed Man.
Hey, good point, pal.
Detective's intuition. Yeah, you know about it? It's a special feeling that all We don't have time for this conversation right now. Looks like Mr. Rell died with the knife in his hand. There's some blood stuck on it. And he must have used this as a weapon. Yep, no doubt about it. Was Mr. Faraday carrying this on his personage? Did he bring this as a piece of evidence for the trial? Or did he bring it with a very different intention in mind? Why are there plastic bags scattered all around? Those bags are for keeping evidence safe, pal. I know that much, detective. Gonna ignore the fact that one of them has blood all over it. Anyway. His hand is all black down here, see? I wonder what it could be. If you look closely, this blotching pattern resembles an ink stain. An ink stain? Yes. I usually get ink on my own hand when I use my feather pen. Feather pen? I've never seen one before. Sure you aren't just making it up, pal? My man Edgy using feather pens on the regular. Is it 1776, my guy? Taking thin flashy feather off a peacock to make a pen out of. Sorry. We had to vent about packages never getting here in this damn country. Postal system's a joke. Mr. Rell's cause of death was from being shot, correct? That's what we think, but it's hard to tell with him lying face down.
And his name is John Cena!
And his name is John Cena! Death is bad enough, but it's truly lamentable that someone would try to hide the truth. Are you sure they were trying to hide something? I can't confirm Mr. Rell's cause of death with his body positioned like that. Detective Bad, I'd like to examine the bodies in further detail if possible. What's this? You're not able to form a theory with them the way they are? I believe an examination of the bodies is vital to finding the perfect evidence, don't you? I suppose you do have a point. Well, hurry up and get on with it.
Labby.
Yes, sir. We've taken enough photos of the scene, sir.
And there you have it.
Do you not approve?
Of course not. What? Investigation of a crime scene is the work of a detective, so don't touch a thing. Hey, big fella, turn over the bodies for me, will you? Okay. Please forgive me, Mr. Faraday, sir. Gumshoe, don't get emotionally involved. Remember, you're a detective. Yes, sir. Understood, sir. There's a knife wound in his chest here, see?
I wonder if the wound matches the knife Mr. Rell is holding.
Labby,
Yes, sir. Verify now, sir.
make it quick.
From the look of things, one could deduce that the knife Mr. Rell is holding is what killed Mr. Faraday. Shot in the chest.
Takes some guts to fire a gun in a courthouse. I mean, I've been a detective for a whole week and I still haven't fired a single round yet.
There aren't any burn marks on his clothes. That must mean...
Wait, burn marks?
A round grows very hot as it's discharged from a fire. Therefore, burn marks are usually left when a shot is fired from point-blank range. Ergo, Mr. Rell must have been shot from at least a yard or two away.
Sure do know a bunch of neat stuff for your age, pal.
Apparently, this detective has as much common knowledge as your everyday marsupial.
It's the one Mr. Rell got blown away by, right? Labby, your answer.
Yes, sir. We found that the ballistic markings do match that gun.
Oh, ballistic markings are
the figurative fingerprints a gun leaves on a bullet when fired. Every gun leaves its own unique ballistic markings. Therefore, by looking at the markings on a bullet, you can tell which gun it came from.
Yeah, that's it. Of course, I already knew all about that, pal. Maybe you'd be better off going back to the academy.
So the bullet that was fired from this gun is what felled Mr. Rell. It looks like Mr. Faraday was stabbed with this knife that Mr. Rell is holding.
Ouch!
What's wrong, detective?
My stomach started to hurt from just thinking about being stabbed.
Just keep your mind on the case, alright? There's something in his breast pocket. It's a fountain pen.
And you know, I always keep a pencil behind my ear. It's because Detective Bad is always telling me you should always write your name on everything you own.
Yes, somehow you do strike me as quite a forgetful individual. Let us now try to understand how the two men died. First, Mr. Faraday took the gun and the knife out from today's trial evidence. He aimed the gun at Mr. Rell and fired. However, Mr. Rell managed to grab the knife and counter Mr. Faraday while being shot. Then the two men fell together where they stood. That's my theory, in any case. What a crazy way to go. Still, something about that explanation just doesn't seem right. I believe I now have a firmer grasp on what happened here. That splotch on Mr. Faraday's hand. I wonder if it might be the ink from his fountain pen.
Ooh, let's ask the lab guy. Detective Gumshoe! I confirm that the substance on Mr. Faraday's hand is the ink from his fountain pen. I see. Good work. You know, I always wanted to say that.
If Mr. Faraday wrote with his fountain pen in his left hand, I think it's fair to assume he was left-handed. It appears that Mr. Faraday's pen is very important to our case as well.
Okay, if you say so, pal.
A knife and a gun to fight and they both died. Well, look how small this room is. But if he's left-handed, why is the gun in his right hand? There's a very tidy pile of plastic bags on the table, and yet a portion of them wound up scattered on the floor as well. It's not likely that the ones on the floor were knocked over during a struggle. In which case, might there not be another explanation to how they got there?
Another reason?
I believe it's possible that the blood on the outside of this bag is related somehow.
Please get that blood away from me, pal.
Detective Gumshoe, whose blood is on this bag?
Hold on, let me ask the lab guy.
Alright, please hurry.
Wait till you get a load of this, pal. It's Mr. Faraday's. And a technician said they didn't find anything else on or in the bag either.
It would appear that this bag is a very important piece of evidence.
I guess there's not much left to investigate, huh? They really did kill each other.
No, we can't conclude that quite yet. There's still something I find very peculiar here. The theory that they simply killed one another is too simplistic in this case. In fact, there is actually a contradiction that shows there's another possibility. He's left-handed. Now we come face to face with the contradiction I spoke of. And it is this. Mr. Faraday used his left hand to write with his fountain pen. Ergo, he is left-handed. And yet, the handgun is in his right hand. Don't you find it odd that the left-handed Mr. Faraday would hold the gun in his right hand? That, lady and gentlemen, is the great contradiction haunting this crime scene.
Hey, you're right, pal. That does seem kind of strange. But how could something like that happen?
The facts add up to one conclusion, and one alone. Someone else put the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand after he died.
Someone else?
Plastic bags scattered on the floor, and a gun in the wrong hand. I sense the presence of a shadowy figure behind this case. A person of vile intent who is serious about keeping the truth from us.
Here's the autopsy report.
It is probable that Mr. Rell survived for a short time after he was shot. However, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously from his stabbing. Interesting. It looks like we now know everything we need to know about this case.
Are you sure we know everything?
Of course! The incident began with Mr. Faraday attempting to get his revenge. The prosecutor went into a rage from being accused and tried to kill the defendant. But the defendant fought back and they ended up killing each other. It's all very clear and simple. There's absolutely no margin for doubt.
Do you really believe that to be the truth?
Ha! Are you saying that just because I figured out the truth before you, that you don't want to believe it's true? If you disagree with my argument, then prove me wrong. Well, if there are any contradictions to be found, that is.
Don't worry, I will.
Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, while Mr. Rell survived for a short time.
Franzie's so short-sighted. Well, she is just a child still. As smart a one as she may be.
From this, it is obvious that Mr. Faraday died after he shot Mr. Rell. And Mr. Rell, while on the brink of death, stole Mr. Faraday's knife and stabbed him. Those are the facts of this case.
I wouldn't be that mad to kill the defendant in a courtroom, yeah. For real.
Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, therefore he must have attacked first. Proving that logic to be false is probably the fastest way to show her that she's wrong. In that case, I should first look for any holes in her theory.
So you believe that the dying Mr. Rell stole the knife from Mr. Faraday?
Mr. Rell became desperate as he did not want to die. Human beings can do amazing things when they are put to the test. So the two men struggled, and in the end, Mr. Rell was able to grab the knife and stab Mr. Faraday. The messy condition of this room is a testament to their struggle. Yes, my logic is perfectly sound.
Can you really say that it's perfect? One must be clear and precise.
Objection!
But there's signs that there was no struggle in this room. The tea set is undisturbed, and Gumshoe didn't hear a thing. If the two men were fighting, their struggle would have surely caused quite a bit of noise. However, Detective Gumshoe testified that he heard absolutely nothing.
Ha! You place too much faith in that detective's testimony, you know. But for the sake of argument, let's say there wasn't a fight. How, then, did Mr. Rell get his hands on the knife?
Mr. Faraday's bag was sitting right here in lobby number 2. It's not hard to imagine that perhaps Mr. Rell saw a chance and took it out at some point.
So, what you're saying is this. Mr. Rell took a chance when he saw the opportunity and took the knife from the bag. And then Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rell after being stabbed? Isn't there something strange in that just now? Wait, something doesn't add up. It's simply not possible for Mr. Faraday to have shot Mr. Rell after being stabbed. Because Mr. Faraday died immediately. The shock from the stabbing caused instantaneous death. According to the coroner's report, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, meaning that he died immediately upon being stabbed by the knife. Ergo, he could not possibly have fired the gun after that. Oh, you got me. But of course. Well then, if the report is correct, then there is only one correct explanation. If we suppose that Mr. Rell attacked first, then Mr. Faraday, who died instantly, would have been unable to kill Mr. Rell. Therefore, Mr. Rell must have stabbed Mr. Faraday after he was shot, then they both died.
Negating your opponent's ideas in order to prove your own theory. I see you've been studying, Francisca. Before you foolishly propose a foolish theory that only a foolish fool like you could. How naive of you to believe that only your opinions are valid. Enjoying that, hun? And still expect to discover the truth that the crime scene offers you? Francisca, you've still got a ways to go. Mada dame. What are you talking about? Are you saying there's a flaw in my logic? Mr. Faraday died instantly. And the fact that he did is what gives rise to the contradiction in this scene. The order the bodies fell. Let me get this straight. What you are arguing is this. Mr. Faraday took the gun from his evidence bag and shot Mr. Rell. Then, the wounded Mr. Rell found an opportunity to take the knife and strike back. Upon being stabbed, Mr. Faraday died on the spot, and Mr. Rell died thereafter. If that's the case, then how do you explain this? Take a good look at the order in which their bodies are piled. No! Mr. Faraday's body is lying on top of Mr. Rell's. Therefore, Mr. Rell must have died before Mr. Faraday. Impossible! Yes, I agree that it seems strange no matter what angle you approach it from.
Objection!
Which means the real mystery behind this crime scene that we must solve is... Not so fast, Miles Edgeworth! What now? I simply think that you ought to think a bit more outside the box. And that it's even clearer now that the incident started with Mr. Faraday's murderous intent. She sure bounced back quickly. An explanation won't be enough this time. It's going to take some decisive evidence to prove her wrong. It was just chance that Mr. Faraday's body fell on top of Mr. Rell's. The two bodies fell into a pile, which indicates that they attacked each other at the same time. It really doesn't matter in the slightest that they fell in the opposite order. I just know that Francisca's explanation isn't absolutely correct. Ooh, squish Aniv? Did you squishy someone who doesn't need to be squishy?
Hold it!
What do you mean by if they attacked each other at the same time? I assume Mr. Faraday had two different weapons in his hands. He made to attack Mr. Rel while holding both a knife and revolver. And then, after Mr. Faraday fired the gun, Mr. Rel grabbed the knife as he was falling and stabbed Mr. Faraday. That is how Mr. Rel wound up on the bottom with Mr. Faraday on top. At close range, that's more than possible. Yes, it's possible, but... But if that's what happened, then how were there no burn marks on Mr. Rel's shirt? So you believe they killed each other at close range? Sorry, but that's impossible. Just as it is written in the crime scene notes, the firing of the handgun did not leave a gunpowder burn on Mr. Rel's clothes. Therefore, Mr. Rel and the gun must have been separated by a distance of at least 2 or 3 yards. Yes, this is by far the biggest contradiction. Chase down the truth! Only bangers in Ace Attorney! The two bodies are piled up on each other, yet the gun was fired from a distance. And with there being no chance that Mr. Rel moved that far after being shot, that leaves only one possible explanation. What a completely foolish line of foolish thought from a thoroughly foolish fool! If I'm not right, then who was it that made the first move with the intent to kill, huh? Here in this room, contradictions appear no matter which man we claim attacked first. Thus, there can be only one explanation. There was a third person here. Bum, ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum. I love Chase Down the Truth. It was that third person who killed both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rel, and set their bodies up to make it look like a double murder. That third person is the real culprit. Miles Edgeworth, there's just one thing you're missing. Evidence, correct? Exactly. Everything you've said up until now is nothing but a story played out in your head. However, this is where the real test begins. Can you prove that there was a third person involved in this crime? Of course. If a third person was truly here, that fact would resolve the glaring contradiction. The proof that this has all been a setup made to look like they killed each other.
Take that!
The gun in Mr. Faraday's hand, and the plastic bag with his blood on it. These two items point to the presence of a third person. Recall Detective Gumshoe's testimony. I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle. If there wasn't a struggle in this room, then there shouldn't be any plastic bags on the ground. Meaning that someone else must have deliberately scattered them around. After all, the tea set is undisturbed. Thank you for the hydrate, Crazy. Do you not see the possibility in this? Disregarding the gun for the moment, there's a high probability of blood splatter when a knife is used on a person. If the culprit held the knife with a plastic bag around it, they could use the bag to catch any blood splatter from when they withdrew the knife. Then, by spreading a few more plastic bags around, mixing the bloody one in with them, and arranging the room to make it look like there was a struggle between the two, they were able to conceal their presence. Looks like we've still got a long way to go in this investigation. Yes.
Objection!
Thank you for the stretch, Hunt. I just made a DK sound. Mr. Bad, I advise you to place Detective Gumshoe under arrest. What? What's the meaning of this? Looks like you're not man enough to discipline your own subordinates. Don't you dare. That detective claims he was there, standing in front of the door the entire time. But I have it on good authority that it was all a giant lie. Miss Yu, I ask that you please explain that. I'll let His Honor explain it himself.
I saw it with my own eyes, I tell you. During the recess, there was a period of time when there was no one in the hallway. What?
See, Mr. Bad? So I ask you, why would a detective who was supposedly doing his job the whole time want to fabricate such a lie? Gumshoe, did you kill Faraday?
No! Of course not, sir!
It would appear that the one who set this whole crime scene up is that detective, which basically renders his testimony a complete lie and wholly invalid. It looks like your perfect logic has just come tumbling down, Miles. Was that statement really a lie? Detective Gumshoe, you're now a suspect in the murder of 2 men. Now spit out the truth or so help me.
I haven't lied to anyone, sir, honest!
I really was there! I was in the hallway the whole time!
Hold it!
Detective Bad, I ask that you please do not act without my permission. After all, I am the one that is heading up this investigation, am I not? Don't talk like you know what's going on, boy. All I want is for this investigation to run perfectly. Perfection is the only wish of a disciple of Von Karma, after all. Therefore, before you take Detective Gumshoe into custody, I'd like to set the record straight on something. And what's that? Motive. I suppose the one thing I'd like clarified is Detective Gumshoe's motive for committing this crime. Motive, huh? Gumshoe, you got a grudge against Faraday or anything?
No, sir, not me! Not a single bad thing against Mr. Faraday, sir!
Is that a fact?
Objection!
You really have a problem with lying, don't you, Detective Gumshoe? I'm telling you, I am not lying! The more unnatural you act, the more suspicious you become, you know. If you want a motive, Edgeworth, I have one for you right here. Could you please share it with us? However, be forewarned that I won't hesitate to object to Flight's offense. Because all I'm interested in is the perfect explanation. You're serious, aren't you? Fine. You amuse me, so I'll humor you with a little courtroom practice. It was about a week ago. I saw the detective getting chewed out by a livid Faraday in front of the precinct. He stood there super pale as Mr. Faraday yelled, "That's a salary cut for you, you nitwit." A brand new detective suddenly getting his salary cut. That's reason enough for a grudge. Well, how's that for the perfect explanation? You totally misunderstood me, pal. No matter how mad I get, I could never hold a grudge. Quiet. We can't trust anything you say. Sir. There's nothing wrong with the motive she proposed per se. But there are some gaps in her logic that need to be filled in. You call your explanation perfect? Is it not to your liking? Unfortunately for you, it's just not up to my standards. Oh, is there something you want me to clarify in that case? If you could clear this one thing up for me. I understand Detective Gumshoe's potential motive for killing Mr. Faraday. However, what about his motive for killing Mr. Rell? His motive for killing Rell? Like I would know. If there was no clear motive for both of the murders, then I doubt this incident would have occurred, wouldn't you agree? Is there anyone else who might have had a grudge against either of the two men? Or should we look into that ourselves? Oh, in that case, I have absolutely no idea. What? But that's impossible. She must know something. Wait. Can you please not glare at me like that? It makes me laugh. I didn't even do anything and you're already laughing away. Well, anyway, the way I see it, as long as he had a motive to kill one of the two, this crime would have played out the way it did anyway. Oh? Would you care to explain your logic? This lady is insane. Perfect this, perfect that. Stop being so uptight. Or is that a requisite trait for being upon karma? Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you shut this rude woman up. I wish you'd both be quiet for just 1 second. Oh well, I guess I'll just have to explain it to you kids. There's no one out there with a motive to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. All you really have to establish is that someone had a grudge against one of the two men. Mr. Rell, who happened to be there, becomes a witness to Mr. Faraday's murder. Therefore, he was killed out of necessity, and set up to look like they had killed each other.
I wonder if that's really true. Is there no one out there with a grudge against both men?
Oh, but there is. Miss Yu, I believe there is someone you overlooked in making your statement. Or rather, is it because you'd rather not bring this person up?
What do you mean?
We're looking for someone with a reason to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. I can think of at least one person that fits the bill. He was the suspect in the original KG-8 incident, and a member of the Kodopian embassy staff, Mr. Manny Kochin. That's right. The very man who came to visit you earlier out in the hallway. The man who killed a member of the Kodopian embassy staff, Mr. Rell, and the man who was the lead prosecutor of the KG-8 incident, Mr. Faraday. Are you telling me that Mr. Kochin has no reason at all to kill both of these men?
Well, I suppose he might have a reason or two.
You covered for me, pal. Maybe you're not such a bad guy after all. Don't get ahead of yourself. You're still a suspect, make no mistake about that. You will stay under my authority and go investigate Mr. Manny Kochin for me. And remember, I will not be very forgiving should any of this leak out.
You want to investigate Kochin? You'd just be wasting your time.
And why is that?
Kochin was up in the viewing gallery watching the trial, so I was told. Every cop in this place has been keeping an eye on the guy since he arrived.
And the only real suspect we have is still Detective Gumshoe. I suppose so.
No way! Come on, Detective Bad, you gotta believe me, sir! I really was in that hallway the whole time, sir! I never took a single step into this room! Okay, then are you saying there was someone else who passed through the hallway? No, there was no one else, sir. Then why should I believe you didn't do it?
That is one incredibly foolish detective. Standing right in front of a crime scene all by himself. It's as good as a confession of guilt. I have to admit it's a bit strange. Most criminals will fabricate some sort of lie to escape their crimes. And if that detective really wanted to prove that he is innocent, you'd think he would at the very least offer up I spaced out while on duty or the like. Miles Edgeworth, I will go on ahead and report this to Papa.
And that's as they say is that, right everyone?
Well, I suppose we should both be getting back to our real jobs now, huh? Before we do, Miss Yu, there is something I'd like to speak with you about. What is it? To have set these two men up and make it look like they killed each other.
there's one thing I cannot forgive, it's the desecration of the dead. So, what did you want to ask me about? The current case of the murdered KODOMOi embassy staff member. I've heard that people have begun calling it the second KG-8 incident. Only among you law enforcement types. And what about it? I'd like for you to tell me everything you know about the original KG-8 incident. I'm afraid I can't help you. I don't know anything beyond what was reported in the papers.
No, I believe you know much more. Since you are directly tied to the KG-8 incident.
I'd appreciate it if you'd stop with the false accusations. Baseless outbursts are useless both inside and outside the courtroom, don't you know?
I do, but I also know that I do have a leg to stand on here.
Think you can stop making that ultra-serious face in front of me?
If you could please stop laughing for just 1 second.
I'm not going to make any headway like this.
I'm just going to have to show her exactly how related to the KG-8 incident she is. Miss Yu, I believe that I have proof of your connection to the KG-8 incident.
That file is your proof? Very well then. Why don't you tell me exactly how I'm related to the case?
Through the victim. Your connection to the KG-8 incident is through the victim. The victim's name is Sis Yu. You will note that she has the same last name as you. Can you really still tell me with a straight face you are not related to this case?
Sorry, but we're not related.
What?
Just kidding. You asked that question with such a serious look on your face. I couldn't help it.
Miss Yu, I ask that you please tell me the truth.
Alright, I'll tell you everything I know. As you guessed, the one who reported the smuggling activities of the Amano group was my sister, Sis Yu.
As I thought.
And she was killed right before she was to testify at the impending trial by Manny Kochin. But because he was tried once and was acquitted, he gets to live out the rest of his cushy life completely carefree.
All because of a lack of evidence.
No, I heard that the evidence to convict him did exist.
What?
I heard it from Mr. Faraday himself after Mr. Kochin's trial was over. Apparently, a man in black made off with the most important piece of evidence.
Then the evidence had been tampered with?
Isn't it just like a criminal to do something like that? The smuggling ring being run out of the Amano group by one of its secretaries. They bailed Mr. Kochin out. Turns out they were in league with each other all along.
How big was that smuggling ring? Was it a large operation?
I don't really know. Which is why I wanted to become the lead defense on this case that people are calling the second KG-8 incident. But I haven't learned anything new at all. I was probably expecting too much, I know.
You mean you think this case has nothing to do with the smuggling ring?
I don't know what to think.
Just like in real life, unfortunately. Why did Mr. Kochin want to meet with you earlier?
Actually, he came to watch the trial. Apparently, he only found out that I was the defense lawyer on this case after he'd arrived. He figured he should say hi, and one other thing. Looks like you couldn't resolve anything this time either. Too bad. What's that supposed to mean? Oh boy, stop it with the scary face already! I'm fine, really. I gave him a good slap across the face. The way she talks about slapping him as she laughs away is kind of creepy. It sounds like after a statement like that, he deserved it. But it's just as Mr. Bad said. He's not related to the double murder. I asked around and people in the gallery claim he was in his seat the entire time. Talk about cruel fate. Well, this is about all I know. Sorry. Guess I wasn't much help, huh?
That's not true. I'm sorry I made you recall such a painful time in your life.
Edgeworth, you really are too serious for your own good. You really need to learn to relax. We wouldn't want you to die of stress, would we?
Thank you for the advice, but there's no need to worry. I work in my own way, and I will catch this criminal in my own way as well. You'll see.
Look at you with your game face on, ready to go!
I'm making no such face!
Did you know? Laughter's the best medicine, Edgeworth. Don't you get tired of making such a serious face all the time?
I'm charged with making sure that all the criminals of this world are found guilty. I have no need for laughter.
There you go, making that face again. Oh well. I gotta get going. I still have a few loose ends I need to tie up.
The KG-8 incident and this murder investigation. It is my belief that these two cases are related to each other somehow. Plus, that Detective Gumshoe. It's obvious he's lying, even though the lie is hurting his chances. Clearly, this case is far from over. But whether or not that detective is the murderer can only be determined once I've completed my perfect investigation. Mr. Von Karma, I swear to uphold your honorable name, or my name isn't Miles Edgeworth. Why so serious? Let's put a smile on that face. And why so serious? You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? It's something I ask all my prey. I like how it sounds. Von Karma, honorable? Excuse me, Edgeworth, but, no. Sir, what is to become of the trial into the Kodopian Embassy staff member's murder? Indeed. Since both the suspect and the prosecutor are now dead, the case will be dismissed. In other words, the trial ends here prematurely.
Looks like you'll have to wait just a bit longer for your big debut.
I suppose it can't be helped.
The evidence for this trial will be transferred to you in a little while.
Sir, what do you think about the murder of the Kodopian embassy staff member? And the murders of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell?
What an outrageous circus it has all become. That Faraday brought it all upon himself with his naivete.
An outrageous circus. Right, sir.
I grow weary of this topic. Edgeworth, I will have you assigned to a different case.
Papa, you'll come and watch my courtroom debut next, won't you?
I'll consider it.
Sir, if I may, please allow me to continue with my investigation. Alright, we got an ad break about to start, so I'm gonna go use the cam. Hear it? Oh, sorry. I was muted the whole time. I pressed the unmute, and it didn't unmute. Hate it. Lovely. Thanks, Stream Deck.
If you wish to investigate this case that much, then do as you wish.
Then you're allowing us to continue?
In court, your top priority is to win, and a solid investigation is one of the keys to winning. We have to make sure you become recognized as a first-rate prosecutor, don't we? It wouldn't be very interesting otherwise. I'm returning home now. Edgewood, Francisco. See to it I'm not disturbed, save for the results of your competition.
Yes, sir.
Of course, Papa.
Francisca, thank you.
What are you thanking me for? Your logic earlier was built on that scruffy detective's lie. That means that the competition is still on.
Yes, just as you wished.
I couldn't let you get off so...
West, South, North, and Center. I will become Super Asia and be champion of all.
I couldn't let you get off so easily. Now then, let's see how well you fare on the investigation from here, Miles Edgeworth.
I know I don't have enough information yet. So my first order of business will be to question anyone involved with this case.
I will become Super Asia.
You're doing well, that's good. I doubt I'll get anything useful from the detective while he's this agitated. What's going on over here? I can't stop the water, sir! It seems that the man who was here earlier broke it by drinking from it too much.
Bunch of fools who pretended to not see the foolishly foolish actions of a foolish fool.
Well then, why don't you lend the officer a hand?
As if I should have anything to do with this. Besides, that water-drinking fool's mouth is the thing that officer should be covering. Let's give that officer a description of the water guzzler later.
She seems to have quite the grudge. Sounds to me like someone wanted a drink.
Is there no one who will make this man take responsibility for his actions on the job? Looks like we have no choice but to report this to Papa. And then this guard can have fun in a waking nightmare after being awakened from his dream.
Actually, let's not. I kind of feel sorry for him now. Miss you.
Oh, it's you, Edgeworth. And who are you? Wait, you were at the crime scene just now, weren't you? You should be disbarred for not knowing who I am. I am Francisca von Karma, and I am about to become the successor to the family name. About to? I guess that means for now you're still just another kid. In which case, it's only natural that I didn't know who you are. What?
But why are you whipping me?
Anyway, it looks like they're planning to hold the evidence a bit longer. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's waiting. One's staring at the model in the middle of the room, one is trying to stop flowing water with their hands, and one is literally sleeping. SMH. I'm terribly sorry, but I have a few more questions to ask of you. Look at you! Eyebrows scrunched with lines on your forehead. And that...
To ask of you.
What exactly is so funny?
Sorry, I'm just bad at dealing with a super serious atmosphere.
Apparently, they failed to teach you proper behavior at a crime scene in law school.
I feel much better now. So, what is it you want to talk about?
I'd like to inquire as to where you were at the time of the murder.
We were in defendant lobby number 1 the whole time, up until we heard the gunshot. And by we, I mean Mr. Baden. If you don't believe me, feel free to ask him yourself.
You were with Detective Bad? Why?
We had a little something to discuss, that's all.
So I take it that you are acquaintances with Detective Bad?
Yeah, he was the detective in charge of the KG-8 incident.
Detective Bad is also related to that incident?
That's right. He was the one who was supposed to protect my sister, Cease. But you know how that turned out, don't you, Edgeworth?
Miles Edgeworth, I have no idea what you two are talking about!
I've heard of the KG-8 incident from my papa. But how does that case relate to you, Miss Yu? The victim of that case, Cease Yu, was my little sister.
You're making that super serious face again!
I'm fine. Really. I just make it a point to rub some more salt in his wounded pride every time I see him.
The way she talks about doing that as she laughs away is kind of creepy.
Oh, speaking of Mr. Bad, he and Mr. Faraday, I'd say they met up just about every single time the Yatagarasu made a move. It was practically a given that the two would meet up at every one of the crime scenes.
I see. He did mention that he's in charge of the Yatagarasu investigation earlier. Miss Yu, I was wondering if you could tell me about the Yatagarasu.
The Yatagarasu, huh? I don't really know much about that character myself, but I do get a lot of consultation requests from companies to defend them.
Requests from companies?
The Yatagarasu isn't some petty thief out for money, you know? Alright then, perhaps the Yatagarasu's in the business of stealing people's lives? You're not very funny or witty, are you, little Miss Von Karma?
Franziska, be careful about who you whip! Choose carefully or we may be sued by...
There! I chose carefully, just like you wanted. That just now was hilarious, little missy.
Of course it was. What is wrong with these two women? Why does my pain give them delight? Schadenfreude! People taking pleasure in your pain.
And so in the end, what is the Yatagarasu? I have to say, I'd never even heard of this thief when I was in Germany. The Yatagarasu deals in information.
Miles saying this and I hate you. The moment man devoured the fruit of knowledge, he sealed his fate. Death will approach.
Namely, recently in digging out dirt about backroom dealings and the like of companies. The Yatagarasu's a vigilante who steals such info and then makes it public for all to see. Vigilante or not, this person sounds like just another criminal to me. I suppose you could put it that way too. But either way, I get a lot more clients now thanks to that thief. Sounds like Miss Yu is profiting nicely. You claim that at the time of the murder, you were with Detective Bad. But don't you lawyers usually discuss the trial with your clients during a recess? We do, and that's what I was planning to do. But Mr. Faraday was being rather threatening and dragged Mr. Rell away. After that, Mr. Bad came into lobby number 1, so we just stayed there and talked.
And what did you talk with Detective Bad about?
Nothing interesting. I just insulted him some. Talked about how the trial was going, and then I insulted him some more. Bloody! When she's not laughing, her mouth seemingly spews nothing but insults. Anyway, Mr. Bad and I were in defendant lobby number 1 when the murders occurred. So I really can't tell you anything about the hallway or lobby number 2.
I see. I'd like to ask you a few questions about your client, Mr. Macrell. Now, your client first claimed to be the Yatagarasu, is that correct?
Yeah. Once I heard that it was the Yatagarasu that made off with the evidence from KG8, I began to ask Mr. Rell all sorts of questions, but to no avail. Turns out Mr. Rell wasn't the Yatagarasu, he just made that up.
He made it up.
Mr. Rell's crime was caught on tape by the security cameras, but there's no footage of him sneaking into the embassy itself. Hold on for just 1 second. And you mean to say that you knew he was not the real Yatagarasu? And that he was just another cold-blooded killer? And you were ready to defend him? Yes, that's right.
I see. So a defense lawyer is actually just someone whose job is to cover for criminals.
That's why defense lawyers are so detestable. But they're no match for us Von Karmas. I don't believe it! You're serious! Why don't you save that face for something really worth being serious about? And Edgeworth, do you remember what I said earlier? I have my own agenda. I'm still on the hunt for leads regarding the KG8 incident, alright?
And for that, you have not a single qualm about defending a known killer?
Don't put words in my mouth. I said no such thing. The only way I had to get close to Mr. Rell was to be his lawyer. I had no intention of covering for him, ever. So don't you dare suggest I was going to.
I'm sorry. Forgive my rashness. I suppose I've gotten all I can out of Miss Yu. I should move on and speak with Detective Gumshoe now. Detective Gumshoe.
Hey, it's you, pal. You're here. Yow! As am I.
I don't think you need to whip him to let him know that.
I didn't do it, pal!
Give me a second.
Twitch, we just had an ad break like 15 minutes ago. Do not do another one yet. Piece of shit. I have you specifically set up. I swear on my honor as a detective, I really didn't!
Your words are useless. I place my trust only in the evidence, Detective. Once the investigation is fully over, and should we find out that you are the killer, there will be no mercy to be had for you.
Have a heart, pal. But you're not worried, right? After all, you have nothing to worry about if you really are innocent, that is.
That's right. Hey, pal, go and do your perfect investigation and get the real killer for me, will ya?
I would have done so even had you not requested me to, Detective. Howdy, Kazuki Silver. You remember following me? Am I a bounty hunter? Used to be, yeah. How you doing? It does say it's your first time chatting, so... Did you follow me during a raid, maybe? Happy to see you either way, though. You think? Yeah, I mean, fair. Brain slow? Fair enough, I know how that feels. So you and Mr. Faraday had a small meeting last week, did you? And what exactly did you do to make him so angry?
I just asked Detective Bad the same thing myself, pal. Turns out he was mad at me because on my very first day as a detective, I reported in at my usual post instead of the Criminal Affairs Department. By the time I got down to Criminal Affairs, I was really late. And that's when he gave me that huge speech. I remember doing the same exact thing in elementary school. On the first day of school every year, I'd always wind up going to my old classroom. How pathetic for the detective to be comparable to a mere school child. I think it's either a VTuber friend? Yeah, we might have a VTuber friend in common. Because I feel like I've seen your name before in another chat somewhere. You claim to be standing guard in front of the door to lobby number 2 during the recess. However, when did you receive the order to do so, and from whom? Earlier, at around 3:20, and from Detective Bad, pal. Today's trial took a really crazy turn, so I was told to make sure nothing happened to Mr. Faraday. And yet, something did happen to him, correct? Looks like it was a total waste of manpower to assign you to guard duty. Ow! Your words sting worse than your whip, pal. So it was Detective Bad who ordered him to stand guard, huh? But I hope you're having a decent day, Kazuki. Now then, Detective Gumshoe. Is there anything else you'd like to tell me? Nope, not a thing, pal. In that case, allow us to take a look at what you're carrying on your personage. Ah! Wait! You can't do that! There's nothing of any particular value here. Well, my handcuffs and badge were confiscated by Detective Badge, so you know. And what is that open envelope I see sticking out of your coat pocket? Ah! Hands off, pal! Just show it to us already! Ow! Annual bonus check within. $5 total. Except there's no check inside. You've had your look, now give it back, pal. It's my first bonus as a brand new detective. I just got it and cashed it today. I had literally no cash on me until I did, you know? So that envelope is really special to me. Now give it back. When you think people can smell bacon because your brain's really cooking crazy, you use that much power? You don't need rubbish like this. Don't worry, we'll throw it away for you later. How could you? I'm sorry, but I need to take him in for questioning now. I think I've asked him just about everything I needed to.
No, wait. Since he has become a suspect, there is one piece of evidence I should reconfirm. Officer, I ask that you wait a second. I still have one thing I'd like to reconfirm with Detective Gumshoe. Understood, but please make it brief, sir. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. I must confirm whether or not his testimony about when the crime occurred is the truth. That fried oysters are a favorite. I have no use for such foolishly foolish words from that foolishly foolish crowd. Someone please assure me that this is not the true state of this country's judiciary. You told me earlier that you heard no sound other than the gunshot out in the hallway. Is that correct? No mistake about it, pal. Then you are also claiming that no one passed through the hallway either. Is that also correct? Yep, not even a single ant passed through that hall while I was on duty. You do realize the lie you're telling is only making life more difficult for yourself. No, but it's true! I didn't see anyone go through the hallway and I didn't hear anything else, pal. I bet the killer found a way to kill those two guys that's beyond what even I can imagine. So he intends to continue telling this ridiculous lie. But why would he do so, given the situation he's in? I believe a thorough investigation of the hallway in front of the defendant lobbies is in order. You! Oh! 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 Ow! That was a hell of a kick! Right to the nuts! Oh god, the jewelry store! How could you have not noticed that coming? Wasn't that the child I changed money for earlier? Kids can sometimes be so cruel. Looks like she dropped something. Maybe we should arrest the girl. She might turn out to be a valuable lead. I believe some sort of punishment may need to be dealt the next time we meet. She gave him a receipt, a kick for being a meanie.
She really just launched that leg right up into his jewelry store. That looked painful. I felt that. I believe I've asked all that I need to of this man. Now for Detective Bad and the judge. We have to confirm who is correct, the judge or that scruff face, right? I suppose we should inspect the hallway in front of the lobby next, then. I suppose so. Shall we head on over, Francisca? She's playing Gem Crush Saga. That scruff face's movements during the recess are really suspicious. Oh, I suppose you noticed it too, then. Of course I did. Scruffy is giving us a testimony that's nothing but harmful to himself. Normally, criminals would tell the opposite type of lie in an attempt to escape. Yes, that is exactly the same point I'm having trouble understanding. Seems that I need to expose what he was really up to during the recess. And to do that, I should head to the hallway where he was supposedly standing guard. I wonder if there's any interesting present dialogue here. In other words, you have no real opinions, do you? She was playing Gem Crush Saga. Alright. It's been about 2.5 hours, so I think this is a good place to call the stream here and give my voice a break. Thank you all for coming out. I'm gonna end the VOD up over on YouTube, and then we'll find someone cool to raid here on Twitch. I'm sure there's a few people live around now. So let's call off the YouTube VOD first. Thank you for anyone who watched over there and helped my numbers out on that side. I appreciate it.